So today we are going to edit everything together in Davinci Resolve. I've got it open right over here. So without further ado, let's get started straight away. So if you've never opened up Davinci Resolve before, this is the Edit tab. And I'm right here on this one. If you hover your mouse over it, it will say Edit. So the first thing that I'm going to do is heading over into the folder where we have rendered everything out. We have got a bunch of renders right over here. I've got a couple of extra ones because I'm also doing some testing in between and stuff like that. But basically what I'm going to do is bring in all the animations that we have. So let's take this one for example. I'm going to select all of this. All I have to do now is drag it into this timeline. And I recommend you do the same. Make sure that you have all the renders in there, and I will see you in a bit. Alright, so this is the order of the shots, and you should probably do it the same. You could opt in for a other option, namely that you can edit all of this by yourself. No problem as well if you want to switch some things around. Be my guest. But first of all, I'm going to show you exactly how I did it. So this is the animation that we've got right here. It's the one with the spotlight and the turning around and then it's going down. Then we have the this animation where the iPhones are gliding apart from each other. But we get this transition animation which we rendered in transparent. And after that, this one will open up. So it's the dark lighting tutorial that we did where the lighting is going around the iPhone. Then we're going into the night mode shot where the iPhone is basically moving around and we see end night mode. Then we get the cinematic animation, which is right over here. The light is gliding over this lens. And then we get this ender animation that we made before. And it looks like this. It's a little bit longer actually, but I cut it off because we don't need that much. It was way too long. Either way, here we have our cinematic dark environment, which is going to be the one afterwards. Then we get the rotation animations because we're going into this telephone and then we're transitioning into the rotation as well. Then we get those cool looking rotations that we made with the modifiers, if you remember correctly. Then we get some cable animations. They look like this. Then we get the close-up of the cable charging. Then we get the iPhone that is moving around like this, so it's a bit wobbly. Then we have the fake speed. So we rotated a UV sphere around and now it seems as if there's some wild movement going on, but actually the iPhone is standing still while a UV sphere is doing this. And then we get the social media shot where we get all these social media icons. The telephone is coming in. It's a bit too slow. We're going to fix that later. We get this YouTube logo that we are going to use to transition to another shot right over here to the water droplet. Then we get this cool looking shot and we've got a close-up of this, or at least this was another shot I made on the back of the iPhone. So I told you in the tutorial, you can also do it on the back of the iPhone. Choose what to do. I made 2 renders of this and I'm basically just going to zoom this in and place it to the side to have some water splashing into the air. That's what we're going to do later on. We're not going to do that right now. Here we have the transition, and it is the wave transition that we made together in geometry nodes. It looks like this, and actually it's already done over here, but I kept rendering a still frame over and over again. I probably went away and forgot about it, so that one doesn't have to be this long. Then we get the close-up of this, so it's rotating. I told you to make 2 cameras in this specific render. One of them was going to be this one, and the other one is the transition that we made. Then we have the gliding iPhones, so that's the one with the paths. That's a pretty advanced animation where we had to animate multiple things apart from each other and bring it back together. Very interesting stuff. Then we get the circling selection. I made a couple of those. It's basically what we did in geometry nodes, and this one is a bit slower and it's going into the air as well. And we're going to use both of them. You can also use just one of them. It's not really a problem. Here we get the meteorite crash. Then we get the spiraling iPhone, which we also made in geometry nodes. The iPhone is coming towards us and we are heading into this camera at the end of the shot, as you can see right here, and it's entering this loop. So we're going into this camera, then we're going into the screen, and then we're going into that camera, and then we have reached the end, namely the final iPhone animation. And basically the way this tutorial is going, I'm going to show you some tricks in order to get certain things to work, such as the transition and stuff like that. But for editing purposes, you might want to do some things for yourself. So I'm not going to take you step by step through every way, and I'm going to show you exactly on which frame I'm going to make the cut, etc. You have to decide on that for yourself. I'm also going to show you how to color grade this, which is the next part of this process. We actually want to do this first because working with PNGs is very slow and I'd rather work with the MP4. So I'm going into this shot right here and I'll make sure that I have a part where the iPhone is visible and we have some lighting on here, something like this. And then I'm going into the color tab, which is this one. And I will press on Alt S. We get a couple of nodes over here. Of course, there's an effect bar right over here. You can turn it on or off. I'm going to turn off clips right here because here we have a whole row of clips and I don't want to see those. I simply want to see this, and I also don't need the gallery for now, so we can zoom in a bit. I'm going to press on Alt S a couple of times until we get 4 nodes, and I'm going into the second one, and I've already explained why I do this. Usually I color correct footage, and this is our denoising node. So in this tab right over here, we can denoise doing the temporal 5. This is, by the way, a studio version. I'm not going to do that right now because we are working with renders and the noise works a little bit different, but I am going to uphold this structure. So on the first one, what I'm going to do is simply head over to HDR, and in the HDR tab we have the exposure. It's spelled like EXP right here in the global, and I'm going to increase this. And let's see, maybe it's a bit too bright, maybe it's a bit too dark, and maybe I'm going to decrease it in this case, just a little bit, because I know later on that I'm going to want to bring down the shadows and stuff. So in the second node, what I'm going to do is I will click over here, and you can either play around with the contrast like this and give it a bit more contrast, and then it looks, but I'm not going to do it in this fashion now. I'm simply going to do it on the gamma. So on this node, we can change the gamma, which will make it darker, or we can change the gain, which will make it brighter. And we're going to use a combination of both. And in this case, I might crank up the gamma just a little bit because I've made it a bit too dark. So right over here, we do want to see some of that blue. And if we turn this off and on, you can see exactly what's going on here. And we've basically added a lot more contrast to this scene. Now, on this node, I usually change the white balance, and we do not have any orange leaks or blue leaks. We don't have to do any white balance. So what I'm going to do is bring in a saturation. And the way I'm going to bring in that saturation is as follows. I'm going to click on this icon right over here. And then I'm going to increase the red input, the green input in the middle, and the blue output on the right. Now, of course, this makes it way too saturated. And you don't want to do this. You want this to be subtle. So right over here, we have a little icon. It's called key. So if you hover your mouse over it, it will say key. If you click on it, you can actually see key output. And this will determine how strong the node is. So right now it's set to 1, which means it's full power. You can also increase it to 2 to increase its power even more. But in this case, we are going to bring it down to a very nice and solid 0.3. And if we turn this on and off, you can actually see that there is a bit more color in our render, and that makes it look a whole lot better. Now I'm going to press Alt S, Alt S, Alt S, Alt S, so we get 4 more new nodes. And on this one, I'm going to bring in a sharpen. So I'm going to type sharpen in the effects panel. You might only have this in the studio version of Davinci Resolve. If you don't have it, not a problem. It's just for this little extra touch. As you can see, it always adds way too much of that sharpen. And I'm going to bring it down to 1.2, 1.3, somewhere around that range. And it's just a very subtle way to make it a bit more sharp. Then for the next node, I'm going to leave this unchecked, but we're going to use it on another clip later on. For this node, I'm going to bring in a vignette. So I'm going to type in vignette, I'm going to drag this on here. Then we can change the size, anamorphism, and softness. So if we take the size and bring it upwards, you can already see that something is going on. But what is going on? We are actually darkening the outer edges of our screen, which is a camera effect that often occurs. So we're going to increase the anamorphism as well, which happens with specific types of cameras. And if we turn this on and off, you can already see that we have a bit more focus on the center and a bit less on the sides. We don't want the sides to be too distracting. Usually there's only one focal point, and we want to make sure that our viewer is watching that specific part of the render. Now I'm going to increase the softness as well. And right now I'm going into the global blend, and this will determine how strong this node is. So I'm going to turn it down all the way and then bring it up until I find a place where I'm happy. Now, for this last node, I'm actually not going to do anything. I'm going to delete it. You might opt for adding a film grain. So if you add a film grain, it will give this extra subtle camera effect where you get some cool looking noise, not the type of noise that you get out of cycles, but the cool looking noise that comes with actual professional cameras. You can increase the grain strength, and I will do so right here. And you can see what it does. It is adding some grain, and if you play this, it is also moving around. We don't want this to be too strong, so always change the grain strength, make it a little bit subtle, something like this, and that looks just a little bit better. You might use this, you might not use this, that's all up to you. Now, for the next color grades, we are not going to do this entire process over and over again. I'm simply going to copy all of these nodes over to the different clips. How are we going to do that? I'm simply going to click on clips right over here in the top view. And all of these don't have a color grade. You can see that because here is a little rainbow surrounding our number. And I'm going to select all of those that don't have a color grade, which basically is the rest of the timeline. And then I'm hovering my mouse over the first one to which we added the color grade. And I'm going to click on my middle mouse button. And then that will copy all of these nodes. And now basically what we have to do is scroll through it and see if everything is correct. Now this one might be a bit too bright. So if we want it to be less bright, simply go into the HDR, go to HDR right here and change the exposure like we did before. So something like this, maybe a bit more subtle, and that's actually what we want instead of having it be this overexposed. Now for this one, it might be a bit underexposed because it's a very dark render in and of itself. So let's move to a specific part here, and maybe you want this to be brighter. Simply go into the HDR and change the exposure right here, and then it will become a bit brighter. You can also change the contrast by going into this node, maybe make it a little bit darker on the gamma and a little bit brighter on the gain. Now I'm not going to show this for all the videos. I think this is pretty self-explanatory. However, there are a couple of ones that we need to add some more stuff. So in this case, for example, we have a very bright render which we made for the cable animation, and we want to change some things right here to make it more contrasty, a bit more dark, so it is aligning with the rest of the videos, because this one is quite dark, but this one then is very bright. We don't want to have that much of a difference between those two. And the way to do it is actually by decreasing the lift, decreasing the gamma right over here. Make sure you're on the right node, which is the third one. I'm going to bring it down and maybe give it something like this. But what I also like to do, so let's go over here in this shot. What I also like to do is go to this node and add a glow. So add the glow right here. And you can already see that there's a type of blurry sense coming over this, which makes it look very smooth. We can increase the spread, change the shine threshold to allow more of that light leaking, but I'm not going to make it very strong, just something very subtle like this. And then I will go over to the global blend and decrease the power of this node. You never want glow to be too strong. Something like this, and it just adds a little subtle haze. Do that for the shots where you think it is appropriate. Now for this render where we use the UV sphere to add this sense of motion, it is very, very bright. And we actually want to change that to something a bit more dark. So I'm going into the HDR, going to change this and make it a whole lot darker. But not too dark, because now you can see that the iPhone is losing its sharpness. It's as if there's a black haze coming over it. So you don't want to crank this down too much. And that's why I'm going to teach you another trick. So right here, before those two nodes, because here we have our vignette, the vignette should come on top, I'm going to press Shift S, and that will add a node before this one. And I'm going to change some of these values right here. I'm going to click on curves, and then I will go to the hue versus saturation. And I'm going to select the blue color because I believe that right here where the spike is where there's a lot of blue. And that's correct. Now I'm going to bring this down and make it a bit more white. But I also want to change the hue versus luma, which is this little button right here. I'm going to select the same blue color and bring this down. And that will make it a whole lot darker, exactly the way that we want it to be. And what we can also do is perhaps before the saturation node, I'm going to press Shift S, add a new node before it, and then I will increase the contrast. So I'm going to increase the contrast right here and play around with the pivot. And basically it comes down to playing around with these nodes, making sure that everything looks good. So that's the way to make this shot, and now it is a bit more aligned with the rest that we've got. So if you look at this and we play this, it's a bit more dark, which is aligning with the next shot, which is also a bit more dark. Now go over all the color grades and make sure that everything looks good. Don't make it too saturated, don't make it too contrasty, just make sure it looks good. This is something that you have to develop an eye for. So what I'm going to do now is press I with the beginning of the timeline, so you can drag it around like this. Press I, and that will set an in point. Then I'm going over here, go one frame backwards, and then press O. And now we've got this entire timeline. Make sure to remove this transition right over here because it needs to be transparent. MP4s are not transparent. So let's move this over to the side so it's not part of our render. I'm going into the Deliver tab, which looks like a little rocket, render this out as an MP4. Then I want to change this to MP4 instead of QuickTime. It's probably set to QuickTime by default. You want to set it to MP4. Click on Add to Render Queue and render all. Once you've got the MP4, simply drag it into the timeline. We don't need the audio for this, so you can delete it. But first, click on this little button right here, which looks like a chain link, so it will unlink it from the audio. Then right over here, all we need to do now is click on B, so we can enter our cutting tool. And I will select this icon right here, which is a magnet. And that will make sure that it snaps to the nearest type of edge. You can click somewhere over here and it will automatically see where the cut is. And with the cutting tool, we can now decide where to cut everything up. And that's right over here, right over there. Make sure that it's all correct. But now we have all the clips and it's actually playing instead of before when it was way too slow. So this is something that we can actually work with. That's it for this tutorial. In part 2, I'm going to show you how to make the transition work. I'm going to show you exactly how to make certain edits. And I'm also going to show you how to speed ramp certain shots to make sure that everything aligns perfectly well. So if you're interested in more advanced editing, I highly recommend watching this video next.
I get the money and it's right on cue. Keep the duffel bag up inside my coupe. Hold a couple racks, tell them I love you. You wanna be a boss, do it like I do.